Hello, and welcome to this edition of your favorite program, You and the Law. You and the Law sets out to discuss the issues of law in society and also discusses the general issues of law in the breaking news. The breaking news just in Nigeria today is that I read the National Judicial Council under the chairmanship of Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwola at its 104th meeting of 6th and 7th December 2023 has recommended the compulsory retirement of Honorable Justice S.O. Falola of Osun State High Court from the bench. The news continues. The recommendation was made sequel to the findings of an investigation committee in a petition written against His Lordship by Mr. Dapo Kolapo Olowo and Polaris Bank for granting garnishee order absolute against the bank in the sum of 283,174,000 naira in a questionable and strange manner, and the endorsement of the order attaching the account of the garnishee with another garnishee and not the account of the judgment debtor who had the legal obligation to pay the supposed judgment debt. So this news item is reported almost on all the dailies in Nigeria today, and it makes for some kind of analysis here. A lot of questions have been asked. Now that the National Judicial Council has recommended the suspension, the dismissal of His Lordship, the judge in Osun State, what will be the fate of that judge? Now, the implication of this recommendation is that the the recommendation, okay, having been made to the governor of Osun State for approval, the recommendation will have to be approved by the governor before the um, before the judge can finally be said to have been dismissed from the judiciary. But in the interim, can the judge still continue to sit? No. What happens is that the National Judicial Council will suspend the judge and thus withdraw the faculty from him and make it impossible for him to continue to sit and hear cases on a day-to-day basis as His Lordship had been hearing. So, with this recommendation now made by the highest disciplinary body of judicial officers in Nigeria, in this case, the National Judicial Council, with this recommendation, the judge is going to be suspended, and with the suspension, his faculty to sit as a judge is automatically withdrawn. So His Lordship goes back home or goes to maybe travels outside the country or travels anywhere, but he doesn't sit anymore as a judicial officer. There is another question arising from this. Can His Lordship, who is a lawyer, every judge is a lawyer, now can His Lordship go back to practice? The answer is no. Once you accept the offer to become a judge, okay, and you are sworn in, you take the oath of office as a judge, you cannot come back to the bench. That's the truth and that's the reality. So once you sign off from the bench and move up to, sorry, once you sign off from the bar and move up to the bench to become a judicial officer, you cannot come back to the bar and practice if your journey to the bench becomes problematic along the way, or you have to be, if you are dismissed, or if you are compulsorily retired, you cannot come back to the bar and still practice law. So it's something that when the offer comes, you have to be very sure that you are ready to take the risk. And it's not a big risk anyway. It's something that you go there, you work in accordance with the law, you work in accordance with the code of conduct for judicial officers. What the law says you should not do, you avoid doing such things, and also work with your conscience and be firm enough, irrespective of the pressure that comes from your friends, irrespective of the pressure that comes from mostly the political class or any other person whatsoever. It is expected that you, as a judicial officer, you should be like Caesar's wife, away from blemish, and you should be able to work in accordance with the provisions of the Code of Conduct for Judicial Officers and in accordance with the provisions of the law. Your action must be such that you can defend at any time. If you do all these things, you don't have any problem. Yes, some people will not be happy over the judgments that you have given, but you do not owe anybody an apology. Once you walk with your conscience, you walk in line with the provisions of the law, and you walk in accordance with the code of conduct for judicial officers, you do not have any problem. You walk and then retire, and then you go home, and then rest and receive your pension on a monthly basis and take care of your family until such time that the Almighty Creator calls you. So, but when any judicial officer, when anybody is sworn in as a judge, the stakes are high. The risk is huge in the sense that if you lose the opportunity of being a judge before your retirement, you cannot come back to the bar and take up your wig and gown and begin to practice law and put up appearance before any court of law in Nigeria, except maybe you are qualified to also practice law in another country or you want to go to another country and then go and study law afresh. But man, it's a whole lot of journey if one rises to become a judicial officer in Nigeria and then has to go to Canada, for instance, to do the qualifying exams before he now has the right of practice. But the summary here is a judicial officer in Nigeria, like in the Osun State's case, who has been dismissed, who has been recommended for dismissal from the bench, cannot come back to the bar and practice law with any other lawyer here, within Nigeria. I do hope you've learned one or two things about the principles of law and the law in practice in Nigeria. I do hope also that all you do will be legal wherever you are, whether you are a market woman doing your trading on a daily basis, whether you're a lecturer, whether you're a student, whether you're a lawyer, whatever you are, make sure you work within the bounds of the law. Like this button, share the page as much as you can, follow us, give your comments. I'll respond as much as possible so that together we can continue to learn from the basic principles of law within our legal system.